G'day, welcome to another edition of the Aussie Ideas Man. I'm going to do another unscripted one. It will be an evaluation like I've done in the past few videos. This time 3&B's latest, or close to latest, and I know it's AOC's second latest. His latest one is a long interview with an operations manager where in the whole thing he doesn't get a straight answer. I think it may be the topic of another review that I make, which won't be very flattering. Anyway, that's if I do it. This one is 3&B's response to the live webinar by the two snake oil salesmen that run Aptera, and I've cut out 95% of what they said and just will comment on what 3&B pass on. I do have a little bit where you see the snake oil salesman actually speaking, but it's only for my benefit. And after 3&B, I do the cretin from Aptera Owners Club, or AOC, and just some comments on his evaluation of the documents that Aptera Motors has had to file. Well, let's dive into it.
Aptera has raised $90 million to date. Crowdfunding and the Aptera Accelerator programs are ongoing and going well.
I wouldn't say they're going well. That's his opinion. They're going so badly that they will probably fold, judging by how not well they are going.
Steve are speaking to all types of investors in Europe, Asia, and the United States, including big dollar institutional investors. But at this point, no big news and no inspired billionaire to kick off production with a cool $50 million in hand.
They have been speaking since 2019 when they started. They're not finding them, and it's been a long time to realize that.
They have completed their ATVM loan application with the Department of Energy, which is a huge milestone. If they are approved for this loan, it would be enough to kick off the production plan.
They got about a 1% chance of getting that loan.
That's huge and great news, if they get the loan. Steve said it will take 9 months to stand up production once they have the money to start production. Does anyone know an inspired billionaire who wants to change the world?
Steve has been saying it'll take 9 months for about 2 years. Sometimes they actually say it will take less time, but the fact of the matter is it's taking way too long, and this stalling may be just part of a Ponzi scheme.
Chris and Steve would love to meet them. Chris and Steve spoke right up front about how easily it will be to create Aptera manufacturing plants all around the world. Basically, they said, all you need is space and electric and you can build an Aptera, especially since Aptera doesn't need a paint department because they are using vinyl wrap.
They're putting the cart before the horse when they talk about getting lots more factories, when the factories they've got, they're putting up for lease. They haven't got a factory working at all. They got a storeroom, which is mostly empty.
More on that in a bit. Chris and Steve just got back from Italy where tooling has commenced. You can tell both Chris and Steve are very excited by the progress of the tools and dies they inspected while in Italy with the CPC group.
That tooling commenced ages ago. I don't know why they say it's commenced. It is close to a year old by now.
Solar panels are becoming stronger and better looking while at the same time becoming easier to manufacture and install.
This is interesting. They have been manufacturing solar panels, which they said they've got nailed down, got it right, for months and months until they moved out of the production facility and just stored their manufacturing equipment at Carlsbad. But they must have made lots. In fact, remember they had so many they were lining them up on the roof, which is absolutely crazy. In any case, they've been making all these panels, and now they say that the panels are inferior. And so who's going to get those panels? Are they going to throw them all away? Or are the accelerator people going to get ones that have a worse surface finish, are very scratchable, and more reflective so they don't take in as much power. Are they going to get the inferior panels? All those inferior panels that they've been making for months.
They have increased their durability, removed air bubbles, and tested them against hail. Also, the solar panels now have greater scratch resistance and are less reflective. Apteras will charge 5 times faster than other EVs because of their size and greater efficiency. As we said, Aptera will not have a paint department, which drastically reduces the need for capital investment and greatly reduces pollution and waste. While
This is old news too. This webinar, I haven't watched it because I can't remain bored for that long, I fall asleep. The webinar doesn't seem to have any new news. Everything is pretty old. Vinyl wrap, that's been known for ages.
Chris and Steve approved many large spends by all of the Aptera teams for additional development of components. So development towards production validated parts continues in all areas, which is very exciting news.
Exciting news. They're having a really large spend, but where's the money going? Do we have proper accounting practices that will show us that money goes to where it needs to go and not into brown paper bags? I am wary of lots of spending, especially when very little is happening. They're still not getting any supplies.
There was a lot of talk about inflation affecting the price of the final vehicle. Since Aptera set the price of the vehicle a couple of years ago, inflation has increased the cost of many components. We might just see a price increase coming from Aptera. Progress in all areas continues without a doubt. Both
I say you're not going to get a price increase because you're not going to ever buy the machine. It won't happen. So they're avoiding as much as they can the idea of a price increase to keep bringing in the money. But they know, I'm certain they know, it's my opinion, that they know that they're never going to sell a car. Or I should say a silly trike. It's not a car.
Chris and Steve look excited and engaged. There was a ton of good news, but what we didn't hear was the inspired billionaire showing up with a massive check to kick off production.
I guess billionaires aren't as gullible.
As a community, let's work hard to get the word out. I believe in Aptera, and I am personally going to invest a little more today. This is just what I am doing. It's not investment advice, it's my own personal decision.
The law requires him to say that. He would love to say, get out there and invest.
Thank you to everyone who has contributed to the cause. And those people that have, skin in the game, and those people that have, skin in the game, and those people that have, skin in the game.
This is what that I put in for my benefit because I actually made a video and have made many comments where I talk about people like 3B and the Cretin who have skin in the game. They make videos and hopefully try to get money from YouTube for making those videos. But if they don't, their biggest hope is in getting $1,000 discounts from Aptera if people use their referral code and make a pre-order.
Aptera will be showing off Gamma in California once it returns from Europe. Let's get out there and support Aptera and the team. The dream is alive as ever.
Hello everyone, it's Steve with Aptera Owners Club. Aptera released their 2022 annual report as well as their 2022 year-end SEC filing. They're very similar, but I thought we'd kind of go over it together and peruse it together. So here is the annual report for Aptera for 2022. This is what caught my eye at first, this Oberlin Drive Suite 7. I hadn't seen that before, but then I went back and checked the previous SEC filing, and this is the annual report from last year, and they still had this same address.
Copy and paste, as is nearly all of the report.
Which I thought was a little odd. If you look at this is the 5818 El Camino Real in Carlsbad. That's their known address. That's their main address right now. And they have a place out in Vista, which is their solar facility, which they're trying to lease out to kind of offset the cost of that lease. And
that's the one I said just previously, that they've been making solar panels so much for so long that they've had to stack lots of them on the roof, which is very much a joke.
And then here's the Oberlin Drive one. That, if you look at it more, it looks like it's for lease available right now. So I think they vacated this space, is my guess. This was a kind of a cool looking space, and I don't think that they're using this space anymore, and they've gotten rid of it, because if you look at their filing, they say that they are leasing only 2 areas. So if you look down here,
Yeah, they say they are leasing only 2 areas, but they're only occupying for storage one of those. So they really shouldn't even be saying that they are using the other one.
yeah, right here, the company's property. The company leases 2 facilities. One is located in Carlsbad. That's the El Camino Real property, and then there's Vista Corporate. That's the Cousteau Street property. That's the larger property which they're trying to lease out. That was the site of their solar.
You can see there that it does say, and is dedicated to the production of solar panels. Now, at the time that they made this, look at the date that they made this report. They had previously ripped out all of the solar production plant and stored it at Carlsbad. So they're lying here.
Manufacturing plant, but remember, they're trying to combine it to save some money, and they've realized since CPC is making their bodies, they don't need as much space stateside. They can just make their solar and the rest of their production in one facility. So I think this is something they need to update, because if you look at their SEC filing, it has the El Camino Real address rather than the Oberlin Street address. They're saying we are targeting to begin our earliest deliveries in 2024. So that is sometime in 2024. And from another recent article, it looks like, I mean, mid 2024 is kind of like the earliest we're going to get it. And so that it keeps getting pushed back, mainly because they haven't found, or they haven't announced that they're finding a large investor that can kickstart everything.
So in this one, where they say our earliest delivery is in 2024, the cretin says he already knows of an article that says that it's going to be mid-2024. So are they lying again? Do they know and have indicated that it will be mid-2024, and yet want to, in this report, go, no, we can do it earlier?
Accelerator program has been very important, and it gets them incrementally there, but they can't really get to real production until they get a large investor. And that, I think they've been looking for that, and hopefully we will hear something about that soon, because that's what's holding us up. No weld. Here is their suppliers. They have 2 agreements with Cherry Automotive, and we still have not figured out what Cherry is supplying to Aptera. Millions of dollars being transferred, but I don't know what they're getting out of that.
Now, this one is a real error, because in the suppliers part, they never listed CPC as a supplier. And they know that CPC is a major supplier because the whole body is being supplied by CPC. And they've known that for at least a year before they made this report. So once again, by omission, they're lying. They're deceiving.
In addition, they have agreements with Red Viking, that's their AGV supplier, Yazaki, that's their wiring harness, and then they have a bunch of other agreements which they are not making public here. And then
None of these have materialized into any supplies. They've spent the money, it's gone, and once again, the accounting may never be accurate, so there's room to lose money with every spend. And when I say lose money, divert it into brown paper bag type accounts. Looking at Red Viking, they said they were going to have deliveries by a certain month when they announced the partnership. And that was probably close to 2 years ago now. It's getting long in the tooth.
then there's the AI merger, which they're dissolving in this report. Okay, this is the important thing. They have 55 full-time employees. If you look at their report from last year, they had 89 full-time employees and 14 part-time employees. So they have cut staff significantly. almost by half. And that is a cost-cutting measure.
I remember around 6 months ago, I don't keep track of time, them saying that they put off 15 or 16, I think it was 16 staff because they wanted a cost cut. Well, now they've put off nearly half of their staff. There's been a lot more put off. These people are supposed to be saying that they're open and transparent. They were open about 16, but they've been quiet about the bulk of them since then. This is another indicator to me that they are preparing for another fold. I can't believe how gullible people are when they say, well, this is just a cost-cutting exercise so that they can survive. No, that's the gullible take.
By them, which I think makes sense from a purely business standpoint. Sadly, if you look at it, many other engineers that have been seen in their previous videos and that I've met are no longer with the company. But that I think is a cost-cutting measure. And these are the hard decisions that a startup has to make to reduce cash burn. And we will find out what their burn rate is in this SEC filing. Oh, so here's the intellectual property. They've been granted 2 design patents. And then, so no technical patents, these are design patents. And then they have 32 patents pending, and they're doing more. So pending applications include 9 design, 8 provisional, 13 non-provisional patent applications.
That all looks good on paper, but it's just more snake oil. A vehicle like that ought to have real patents and they should be of significance.
These patents cover electrical CAN. I think this is supposed to be a CAN LIN bus, not a CAM LIN bus.
Pay peanuts, get monkeys.
Aerodynamic shape, solar integration, suspension, battery, HVAC body, and manufacturing technology. To date, they've relied on copyright, trademark, and trade secret laws to protect the IP. All right, so they lease 2 facilities, so we know that that's the El Camino Real and the Cousteau Street property in Vista. The Cousteau Street they are trying to lease out. I don't know.
Once again, they say is dedicated to the production of solar panels. Then why did they rip out the plant and store it at Carlsbad? That's a lie, and they've lied twice.
If they successfully sublease that out, hopefully they have that will reduce their cash burn as well. We covered this in the previous last year's SEC filing, so nothing new here. What's important is the auditor has issued a going concern opinion. That sounds bad, but in accounting talk, a going concern is a good thing.
Warren Redlich has a very different opinion about that.
And that they don't have anything. So, okay, so here's the balance sheets, and here's the important financial information. So this is last year and this year. And here is their total cash equivalents. So at the end of last year, at the end of 2021, they had $20 million. At the end of 2022, they had $10 million, or about $11 million of cash on hand. So
they had $20 million after 21 when they had almost 100 employees, and then they went down to half that when they had 55 employees. I thought getting rid of so many employees was so that they could spend less money. Wouldn't that mean they would have more in the bank? We'll have to look at the burn rate. It must be the culprit.
that is, they have less cash on hand after a year, which is a problem. Now, this is before they did the accelerated program. The accelerated program has increased their cash on hand significantly, so that's good. And then here is their burn rate, and this is the important thing. So in the year that ended 2021, their total operating expenses were $20 million. So at the end of 2021, their burn rate was $20 million.
That's with almost 100 employees, $20 million spent
per year. In 2022, their burn rate was $61 million per year. So you see, they've been saying that they need $50 million to make it to production. That's not including this burn rate.
Now that's $61 million. Where has it gone if it hasn't gone into brown paper bags? Because they've got no supplies, nothing to show for it in supplies. Certainly they paid for suppliers, but has that money gone elsewhere? They haven't put any of this $61 million into the expensive tooling that they never tell us how much it actually costs, because it's not as expensive as they say. But anyway, they signed a contract with CPC on November 3rd, 2022. So in under 2 months, they didn't get a single block of steel made or even purchased, I don't think. I don't think any money went into the CPC spend other than whatever they paid for the contract. So I don't know where the extra $43 million has gone since they almost halved their employment, their wages bill. Where has an extra $43 million gone when they should have actually spent less? They should have spent something like $13 million other than for signed contracts with nothing delivered, nothing turned into assets for them, just money going out at a massive rate. This is what a Ponzi scheme does. It divests money at a massive rate and makes sure that it is going out so fast it's not traceable. It's not interested in getting assets for the money. It doesn't matter. What they just need to do is make sure money disappears where it can be very difficult to trace. And of course, anything overseas is far more difficult to trace than anything within the country. And this is another reason why I believe they like the idea of dealing with Italy.
That's in addition to the burn rate. So, if they make $50 million little by little, that's going to go into their burn rate of paying for their leases and their employees and, that kind of stuff. And they've tried their best to reduce the burn rate by trying to sublease their Vista facility and reducing their staffing by almost 50%. All right, lastly, this is just interesting. If you want to know how much the executives are getting paid, this is their compensation for 2022.
Interestingly, Janice Burlingham, the CFO that left, is actually more highly paid for less than a year's work than anybody else. $314,000 and didn't work the whole year. Something fishy going on.
So Chris Anthony and Steve Fambro got about $260K. Brian Snow, he was paid $135K. And then Sarah Hardwick, $231K. And Janie Berlin's game, $314K. So she was, by salary, the most highly compensated. All right. Well, one thing that I wish they would fix on this annual report is they misspell their name 3 times in here. So they call themselves Aperta here, and Aperta here. So I mentioned this in my previous statement, and I think that next time they issue an annual report, it would be good if they just ran a spell check and fix those things. It just looks more professional.
Like I said, pay peanuts, get monkeys. Okay, that should be enough from me. Bye for now and stay safe.